to this next edition of Vocal Empowerment. We have come a long way, and today is an incredible, auspicious day. It's 11/11/11, because 2018 is an 11 as well. So we're in a really incredible moment, and I almost didn't make today's session. 2 days ago, I almost sent out an email to everyone because I've been invited here to Florida to play an event all weekend. There's a ton of people here on the land. It's kind of like a mini festival, but just a private event. And so I'm playing every day, and there's a lot of people swirling around. I had to change rooms today and then find another quiet room to be able to do this. And the whole time I just kept feeling like, no, we need to stay on track. Even though I had gigs today, it was so important that we meet today and keep in alignment with our assignment, because 11/11 is a gateway. And I know we all could probably speak into what 11/11 means to us. Maybe it means nothing, maybe it means everything for you. But what I'm tuning into in terms of the energies of today and why this is such an auspicious moment for us to meet is this is a gateway between one world and another world, between a way of being. And so if there's any old habits and belief systems, aloha and welcome, Rose. Wow, from the Haleakala crater. That is quite something. Welcome, sister. It's good to have you here. So if there's any old habits, old belief systems, ways of being, even these last 8-9 weeks that we've been working together, I'd just like to ask you to take a moment to reflect before we dive in officially today into our practice. I want to just ask you to close your eyes and reflect on these last 9 weeks of your life and what has occurred since you said yes and we started our journey together. And just look at the scope of life and what has taken place and how profound this journey has been. Just look at the way that life has showed you and reflected to you your own transformation. You might be tuning in to some aspects of the past that you're ready to let go of, some things that you've noticed along the way that you want to refine, some things you want to be better at, some things you want to, create more space for. So today is a powerful day for us to call those things in, embody them, sing them into being, pop a sphere around our new intentions and the energies that we're carrying and the energies that are available today. So I want to invite you to join me in taking a few deep breaths, and we're going to dive in officially here. I think I've spoken long enough. I'm just going to check one more time just to see who all is here with us. We've got Suyana, we've got Rose, we've got Maria, Mayu, Heather, Ellie, Carol, Rose. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So, friends, are you ready? Let's take a big deep breath together. And let it out. And let's take a few more deep breaths and just ground into where you are. Just feel yourself, whether you're sitting, I don't know if you're, I recommend your spine being straight for this next little spherical exploration. So just sitting up straight and just aligning with the heavens and the earth. And just breathe. And let's create some space for this meeting today. See if you can slow your breath down and become ultra slow motion until you reach the still point. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. And just let out a sigh. Now with this next breath, we're going to tone home. Ready? Let's do 2 more tone homes. Activate the sphere. One more. Now let's sing and activate the internal spheres. We're going to sing into the body for 3 breaths. Breathing in. Move it around and get every sphere activated, every cell. Let's do 1 more breath. Breathe in. Let's do a tone home. Center back in. Beautiful. Let's take another deep breath and we'll activate the outer sphere, sing and tone into your outer sphere and really claim your space. There's a lot of people in the house with me here, and I find when there's people around or you're aware of other things happening in the field, let's claim our space. Let's really create a sphere of sovereignty and clarity. Okay, big deep breath. Let's do one more. And if you can see your sphere 360 degrees with your eyes closed and see it and feel it glowing, then you know you've gotten there. So let's take another big deep breath and just bring the whole sphere online. Beautiful. Now we're going to take another deep breath and we're going to go into our sphere of spatial awareness. So like we play with time, where we kind of expand our sphere out into the day in expanding time, let's expand space and just become aware as we take each breath and start to tone into the first level. Just start small. So we'll start with our personal sphere, right? Then we'll take a breath, tone, next tone, expand the sphere a little bit until our whole room that we're in is included in our sphere, and then the whole house, and then perhaps the whole town or the neighborhood, and just keep going for as long as it feels comfortable for you. We'll say 7 tones, and then on the 8th, bring it back, tone home, and bring it back to your sphere and your personal center. Okay, so we're going to start small, expand out with each breath of the 7 tones, and on the 8th, bring it back in, and then we'll go from there. Big deep breath in. Let it go. Big deep breath. Oh. A little bit bigger. Oh. Oh. See if you can stabilize your sphere as it gets bigger, really stabilize into it and see it really ground, and notice what you can see from these different perspectives. I'm going to do 3 more. Here we go. Grounding back into the tone home. When you're ready. Breathing easy. Feel your body, feel your cells, feel your sphere, and just notice. Notice how clear it is in here. How does that feel? So, beloved friends, here we are. We are in the midst of a very transformational day, a very powerful moment. Today, I want to come a little bit closer as a community, as a tribe, and as a family. Those of us who've been doing this work together, vocal empowerment, we've been meeting every week. We've been cultivating in our own sphere, in our own self, in our own voice, cultivating our voice of power and becoming more empowered in the way that we communicate, the way we express ourselves, the way we refine the intention of the divine to come into this world. And these tones are not to be underestimated as magical wands that literally help to reshape our reality, right? Well, then there's the question, which is, well, that's nice, Elijah, but what do you do with that? Where do we go with this? Where do we point our magic wand? Once we have it activated, what do we do with it, right? So today I want to play a little bit with you. I want to play with our collective prayer field and explore a bit together, have a bit of a spherical exploration together, and become aware of this larger sphere that we all are holding points of. Here we are at points all over the map, right? All over the world, and we're holding these nodes of consciousness and connection. So we have quite an opportunity to create a field of prayer, of compassion, of presence, and direct that wherever it needs to be directed right now. And so I'd like to just explore this with you and kind of try on a more adept level of our Jedi training today, because a lot of communities around the world are going through a very challenging time right now, and I feel like we're being called to step into a more let's just say a more front edge, to really show up on the edge of the edge and use this channel as a force of goodness and prayerfulness and healing. And so what I'd love to invite us all to do is we're going to just choose a couple of points on the map where we can collectively hold a sphere around an area. And I'd like to just hold a sphere around our beloved community in California that's on fire right now. I don't know if you've been noticing on the news that a huge part of our community in the Los Angeles area is on fire. There's other places too that I want to hold in our sphere, but let's just start there because it's a raging, blazing fire right now, and all the people and animals and houses are just being devastated at this moment. So collectively, let's practice. Let's practice with our collective prayerful energy and literally hold pop a sphere around that entire region of the coast of California. And we're just going to strengthen the sphere of compassion, of grace, of connection, of love, of trust, You can infuse whatever energies you feel you would like to offer into this space. I'm just going to offer a few tones of compassion is one for me, healing, um, and the right conditions for Mother Earth and the elementals to work together to create as much completion and coherence of the destruction that's happening there right now. So I've seen a couple comments go by. Since I'm on my iPhone, I can't see them unless I click out of the screen that I'm in now. So if there is something that you want to add in there, Mar, if you could help me by perhaps bringing things back to the top of the page. And also, Mar, I would love your help today just being a timekeeper, because I don't see the time since the screen is all taken over with Zoom. If you could be a timekeeper and just give me like a 10-15 minute warning when we're toward the end, or 90 minutes, that'd be wonderful. So, beloved friends, let's what's that? I'm too intense for the phone. Oh, I hope this is coming through all right for you guys. It's we're having to work with the phone because when I was singing it was too intense. Okay, I see. Yes. Isn't that the way? I have to say, you guys, before we dive into this, I'll just say that oftentimes the tones and the frequencies are too much for technology. In fact, that can happen when you're really loud, but it's not even about being loud. Sometimes just literally the frequencies, they break stuff. There's it's been kind of a problem my whole life, where technology does not always agree with these universal tones. So perhaps I'll tone a little bit more quietly for you all today, just so it doesn't blast your speakers or something. But I do want to focus our intention like a laser beam into this sphere. And let's go ahead and start with popping a sphere around California and the fires that are happening right now. And we're just going to start there. We're gonna do this a few times, but let's go ahead and start there. And as we breathe in, and we're going to tone home, and then we're going to tone into the sphere that we're going to pop around, literally just around the fires and around the people, around. I'm already seeing visions of people who are crying right now, people who've just lost everything, people who've lost loved ones, animals, and even just letting that into my heart, I could cry right now, just feeling the wave of it. So it is very vulnerable to feel, and to pop a sphere around this space, and to tone and sing and literally create a sphere of unity, of healing, of coherence. That's the work that I feel is ours to do today. So we're going to do this for just a few moments, and we're going to do as many tones as need to come through. I invite you to put whatever frequencies, whatever colors, whatever sounds, whatever visions that you're called to put into this space. And this is for the earth, this is for our community, this is for the animals, this is for nature. And so I join you, family, in putting a sphere of prayer around the fires today. Okay, so let's take a big deep breath together and center into yourself. Center into your hara, your power, your center. This is what we were designed for. This is what we are doing this work for. This is what we were born to do, to band together and to direct our prayers for the highest good of all. Be aware of your root and be aware of your crown, and the energy flowing up and the energy flowing down, meeting in the middle of your sphere to dispel all fear and create a field that is clear for the highest good of all beings. So take a deep breath and we'll tone home together, and let's just go right in. Let's create the sphere together. Oh. go ahead and tone into the sphere, and let's create it and generate it together for the highest good of all beings around California. Toning home into your personal sphere. Mm, mm. Wow. Thank you. Powerful. Would anyone like to share their experience? I could feel all of our light, all of our rays kind of converging into the sphere around the fires. So holding, soothing, softening, and just grounding this energy of compassion and peace. It's such a strong group of Jedis we are. Thank you so much for that. This is what we're capable of. Even just taking 5 minutes like we just did, just a few moments to join others and sing, not just think, but actually intone and invoke and direct our our prayers and our magic. See, there's this concept we see and hear a lot on social media of people who are, sending good thoughts and sending prayers, and it, it can be a real thing, but it could also be not a real thing. It can be a little bit of this kind of a surface level. Oh, I'll send some good thoughts your way, but if you really want to send some thoughts and prayers, that's what we do. We ground into our sphere, and then we direct a beam, and actually vocalize it, and we have and still are generating a really potent energetic field around what's happening there. So thank you for that. I saw a couple comments. I'm just going to click over here real quick to see if I can see if anybody had something to share. Profound energies grounding, indeed. So Mara is saying, I'm reminded of a teaching from Dr. Four about supporting spirits crossing. If this is a calling for some, to make clear boundaries and a dedicated time and space for it. Oh, this timing for collective healing, working with spheres, for me, is becoming a way where I get to offer energies of healing as an impact with clear purpose and deliberate space for it. Aho. Aho. Mar, it's so beautiful that you brought up boundaries. It's very inherent in the work of spherical exploration to even create your sphere, or to, let's just say, enhance and activate our sphere. In and of itself is an energetic boundary. I always love the teaching of our dear fairy godmother, Ariel Spilsbury, who talks about rather than shielding, as in like some, the old metallic kind of shields that kind of stave off energy, but that the concept of the light shield being something that is actually an outward facing shield of light that's radiating, right? And so that's, to me, what our spherical work is all about, is actually creating sovereignty, enhancing our energetic boundaries, but not from a space of necessarily protection. Protection is kind of just a natural inherent result of having really clear boundaries and having a light shield that is radiating out, that can actually hold but reflect. Prem Sarit Rose says, Dan, my husband, is here with us and wanted to say Lemurian light is involving us too. Thank you for sending that. Thank you for anchoring and grounding into that. Angel of the air, downgrading the high winds. Angel of the earth, swallowing the fire. Angel of the fire, decreasing its impact. All things returning to its divine destiny. And so it is, Carol. Thank you. Thank you. So today, I was meditating before our class today, and I wanted to speak a little bit into the frequency of the theme for today, which is surrender. Surrender is the intention that I woke up with for this morning's class. And wouldn't it be a day of surrender unless I had to actually surrender a little bit today? So I had to change rooms last minute. I was all set up in an Airbnb, and I just was told we had to check out of that room and move over to another site today. And then they didn't have our rooms ready, so I'm in a friend's room. And so every moment of today has been some kind of a surrender, to just really allow for life to unfold and continue meeting the moment, continue showing up into the moment. And I'd like to speak into that a little bit today for this next week ahead of us, to look at what is your relationship to surrender. And I'd like to speak from a place that where we can define surrender in such a way that we can be in right relationship with it, because surrendering is not necessarily mean laying down and just letting people trample over us. That's not necessarily surrender to me. There's been this concept recently of surrendered leadership, and so maybe let's call our theme for today surrendered leadership, because the combination of those two concepts together create a bit of a different feeling, don't they? because surrender on its own is beautiful. It's a spiritual practice. It's something I've practiced my whole life. And truly the only way that I've been able to sing when I haven't had a voice, or speak the truth when my knees are shaking and I'm a little bit afraid to confront power with truth, surrender is certainly a pathway through those moments, and a way to connect to something more deep than our own ego, or even our sense of personal power. There's something deeper than that through surrender that can be accessed, right? The divine nature of who we are. But this concept of surrendered leadership, this is what we're going to be getting into today and for this next week ahead. Because as it is 11:11 and the portal is wide open, I want to invite each of us as masters to consider that wherever you are, wherever you stand, you are a leader in your life. You are leading by example those around you. You are leading by example your own reflection in the mirror. The way that you talk to yourself on the inside, your own voice, and the way that you speak to yourself when no one else is looking, the thoughts you have about the way you handled certain situations. Are you being a good leader to yourself? Are you being a good leader to yourself? And therefore, are you leading by example, not by talking, but by example in your behaviors? Those around you who look to you, as a guide, who look to you as a reflection of themselves. You know, when we get into if you've ever gone to a music festival or concert or a club, and you get to a place and nobody's dancing, and everyone's just kind of sipping on their drinks, or everyone's just kind of maybe in the festival and just kind of looking at each other and talking, but nobody's really like letting loose yet. And then somebody gets on the dance floor and just starts getting down and just getting all funky and letting loose. And all of a sudden someone else joins them, right? We've all seen this. And then all of a sudden everybody starts dancing, right? Who that first person who just followed the music and let themselves express themselves, let God express themselves, let the divine move them. That's being in surrendered leadership. Surrendered leadership could look like so many things, right? But I want to ask and challenge you today, on this day of 11/11, on this day where the world is on fire, where people are being evacuated today, on this day where there are children who are starving right now, and people who are in horrible, uncomfortable situations right now today. And then there's us connecting through technology, hopefully in very comfortable situation where we have roofs over our heads and we have clean water to drink. How are we using this privilege to be in surrendered leadership to create a good example for those around us, to live a love-centered life, regardless of the details, regardless of the external circumstances? That's my challenge for you this week. To realize that every time you speak and every time you act, every step you take, you're creating a ripple. And somewhere, someone, or perhaps many people, or perhaps 10,000 angels are watching you to see how are you going to move with this energy? How are you going to carry this magic wand of manifestation forward in your life? What are you going to create with it today? So I'd love for you to write a bit today. After our session, perhaps, I'd love for you to just free flow write a little bit in your journal or on a computer. I like to go manual. I don't know about you guys, but I like to get off my screen and just get a pen and a paper out. So, for me, that's the best way for me to just free flow a bit and not get too sucked into the screen. But however you like to, I invite you to write a little bit today and explore the voice of your written word. And ask yourself the question, what does surrendered leadership look like for me in this moment of my life? And we're going to explore that a little bit today. Part of the surrender part of surrender leadership for me is that's how I can get into the groove and stay there, right? It takes discipline, right? To refine our voice, to work like this where we're honing in our voice, we're developing tools and practices and playing with our voice every day and putting in our 10,000 hours to just becoming an effortless, vocalizer. Just like with anything else, whether it be playing guitar or an instrument or working on a new project or business, it takes that dedication and devotion and discipline. But there's something else when it comes to this streaming flow state that we keep talking about, right? Every session I like to bring it back to streaming our voice, streaming our tones, and streaming even our words, right? Even now, as I connect with you through my voice and using words, if I could stream more, if I could let go of my little egoic attachment to what I think I need to say and how I think I need to sound and how I think I need to present myself and be a teacher. If I was to let go of all of that and just stream, then the divine's taking care of it. Then something greater than me can connect with you. And if we're all connecting like that together in this surrendered place, right? Where it's kind of like letting go of the extra baggage, letting go of the weight. So this lightness of being can start to stream through us in our communications, right? So for me today, what I want to get into with you is a couple practices that can stream surrender through our voice, and to create a field where we can drop into this space in the most challenging of environments. And for me, it's like I'm here, right here with you, in a crowded environment where I've been moved out of my quiet little room into a room where there's a lot going on. It's taking a level of both surrender and leadership for me to keep my sphere really clear and stay connected with you. This is where it's at. This is where the rubber hits the road, as they say, right? When your town is on fire, when you've been evacuated from your house, or when friends are going through intense pain and loss and devastation. It's moments like these where we are called upon, where we're needed to use our voice as a channel of good. And like Mar said, it's so important to maintain our sovereignty and really choose to be the gateway guardian of the energies that we allow through our sphere, so that we choose when to open up the gates and say, come on through, friends, come in, you're welcome here. But then know when to create our spherical sovereignty again. So being surrendered and being in leadership as one force, as one coherent tone, what would that sound like? Let's explore that a little bit today. So I'd like to take a few deep breaths with you and tone and infuse and strengthen your field of surrendered leadership, and just explore what that means to you. I'm saying that word a few times just to like invoke it into the field, but it's up to you to actually infuse it into your field and explore it as a frequency and discover what it means for you. How would that tone, if you added it to your sphere, assist you to navigate through this time, through this day, through this next week ahead? So let's explore that together. We're going to take three tone homes. We're going to do 3 of them. Then we're going to tone into our sphere. And then I'd like to just add the frequency of surrendered leadership. And we're going to tone 3 times that frequency into our sphere and infuse our sphere with it. We're going to add a couple more layers and we'll go from there. So let's just start with that simple first step, okay? Big deep breath in, let it out. Big deep breath in. Tone home. Oh. 2 more. Good. Now for the next 3 tones, tone into your sphere and infuse it with the frequency of being a surrendered leader. And just see where that takes you. Just ask yourself, what would it look like if I stepped into my surrendered leadership today and was to walk forward into my day as a surrendered leader? What would that look like? And let's just explore where that goes. So 3 tones, we're going to infuse our sphere with it. We're going to play a little game. Here we go. Imanara escondites, atcongarara escondides, atquingarara escondidas, atquingara escondidas, cungireres escondidas. Jam with me. Ingara escondidas, ingara escondidas, ingara escondidas, ingere escondidas, ingara escondidas. Ignaratundera, 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 uleretsundareza, 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 uleretsundareza. Come on. Now I dare you to let all your inhibitions go and jam with me. Ignaras somebody, oh, ignaras somebody, ignaras somebody, it is cold, it is cold, it is cold. Getting that as cold, oh, that's cold, it is cold, oh, God, it is cold, it's cold, it's cold, it is cold, oh, it is cold, it is cold, it is cold. Now you go. Sing a little louder. How fun is that? So I'm reminded of the words of my mentor, Herbie Herbert, that are coming through right now. He used to tell me all the time, and he actually had guitar picks that were made with this little quote on the back of them. And he says, if you're thinking, you're stinking. And when it comes to music and it comes to sound, part of this whole frequency of surrender is that you can't be in your mind and be surrendered at the same time. So just think, if you're thinking, you're stinking. So remember that. So when you're getting into singing, vocalizing, toning, exploring, jamming like we just were, which by the way, that was just a little warm-up. We're about to go one more time. It's not about thinking and trying to come up with something. If you're thinking, you're stinking. It's going to be way less powerful if you're kind of anticipating the next thing. Oh, what should I do? But for this next one, I dare you to let go of your mind, let go of any kind of anticipating what you think you need to do, and see what happens if you let your voice from a surrendered place become a leader and let it go and see what flows through from that space. So we're going to do one more, and I'm going to do we'll do like a bit of a call and response just to kind of get some energy moving here. And then after, say, a few call and responses, I'm just going to lay down a groove like I just did. I'm just going to kind of become a beat, and I dare you to explore and channel something just in the moment. See what comes through you, all right? If you need to move your body a little bit or loosen up your spine and move around, I need to move when I'm singing. When I move in energy, it helps me to get into that flow state. So I just invite you to move your body. I invite you to stay loose. Let's just do a little bit of a call and response. And then I'm going to lay down a groove. And when I do, it's your turn to become a surrendered leadership of your own vocal empowerment class and channel what you got to say. All right? So take a sip of water if you got it. Now that we're getting all loosened up, we can jam a little bit. This is so fun. I've been looking forward to this part of our series together when we get to play a little bit more, because we've got enough tools now to build a mountain of mastery. So it's all about using them, putting them into practice. So let's take a big deep breath and just loosen up and surrender. Surrender your mind. Intend that you're going to dive into the flow and let the flow through you. La la desane, la la desane, la la desane, la la desane. Could you sing? La la desane, la la desane, la la desane, la la desane. A little louder, la la desane, la la desane, la la desane. La la desane, cool, la la desane, la la desane, la la desane, la la. Now repeat after me. La 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 desane, la 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 desane, la 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 desane. Yeah, la la let's start get out of. Oh yeah, there's somebody. Oh yeah, there's somebody. Oh yeah, somebody sing it. Oh yeah, somebody. Ooh la 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 la. Ooh la 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 la. Ooh la 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 la. Oh yeah, la la la. Oh yeah, somebody. Oh yeah, somebody. Oh yeah, somebody. Oh yeah, somebody. Now you go ahead and freestyle. Come on, let it out. Oh yeah, it's somebody that oh yeah, that's somebody. Come on. Oh yeah, that's somebody. Sing. Oh yeah, that's somebody. Beautiful, beautiful, friends. I can feel you. I can feel you. Thank you for playing with me. So in this way, when we become playful, when we become a child again, that's the surrender part, right? You have to surrender to play. But the leadership means pushing yourself to the edge and saying, I'm hopping on this and I'm going for it and you're going to do this, right? So leadership is to say, I will, right? But the surrender part, that's, where we create the space so that the music can come through. All the greatest musicians I know have taught me valuable lessons. And it always comes back to the same thing, which is to never lose the groove for the sake of the notes. So how does that apply to our vocal empowerment? Is we never lose the connection for the sake of how something looks or how we think it needs to sound, right? So if we're thinking too much, if we're paying more attention to how our voice sounds and I missed that note, or I hope these people like me, then we've already lost the groove. If that's where our head's at, if we're in the groove, if we're in the flow state, if we're in the streaming, right? We couldn't really get it wrong. Even if we miss some words, if we screw up a few notes, what you take home with you when you've seen an artist or where you hear somebody speak, even if they fumble their words, even if they cry a bit, it's when they're in the flow, when they're streaming, when they're connected. That's what impacts us, right? But the most well-rehearsed, practiced, perfect technical performance may not be as impactful if it's not from a place of truth and honesty. So this theme today of surrendered leadership, it really means truth, to be honest with ourselves, to be so committed to the truth. And this is a big part of why I love this work and what actually drew me to offer this to you guys, to create this 12-week course and create the space in my life to really show up for how to speak and how to communicate something that is so inherent in our bodies. It's so a part of us that it's like asking a fish about the water and it would say, what water, right? It's such a part of our daily lives, speaking and using our voice, that we don't even necessarily think about it. But when somebody reflects it to us, like, hey, like we're going to do this vocal empowerment thing, and we're going to actually step into a space where we're going to start really looking and getting really intimate with how we speak our truth, how we sing, how we communicate, toning and creating magic with our voices. It can be a very vulnerable, confronting process. So family, I want to ask of each of us this week, there's a couple things we're going to get into for our home fun this week. Because just being in surrender leadership is a little bit too vague to just throw that out there. Oh, what does that mean? How can we put this into practice? Well, I want you to find times throughout your day, besides your 3 parts of your day where you take 11 minutes to drop into your sphere for your spherical explorations, your morning, your afternoon, your evening. I want you to look for opportunities throughout every single day of this week and play a game. Play a game with your reality where you become the leader of the moment for yourself, not where you're leading other people, but you're leading yourself in surrender leadership to discern and look for the opportunities to reflect this wisdom that you are now embodying from this course, this vocal empowerment. What does it mean to be empowered vocally? How could you reflect that and invoke that in your communications with your relations so that you're actually drawing from them the very thing that you're honing in on mastering right now? You know how they say that a person teaches best what they most need to learn? So this week, look for opportunities to teach. Look for opportunities to share your wisdom and to invoke a space where you can play with someone with your voice. So this week, I want you to jam with someone. I want you to find people you can jam with. I want you to just like be bold and adventurous this week and inviting and looking for situations and opportunities to be in connection and to play with your voice with someone. So for instance, already today I've jammed with 4 or 5 different people right at this event. There's been a couple moments where I've been standing around and I'll just drop a beat and then somebody comes over and they start grooving on it. So this week I want you to just become your own superconductor of the band of light and open up some jam sessions. Maybe it could be something as simple as, hey, I'm doing this vocal empowerment masterclass and I'm just trying, I want to play more with my voice. You want to sing a little bit, want to jam with me? And just like I just did, where you make up some silly sounding syllables or some make-believe words and and play with your voice. So your home fun this week is to jam at least 1 person a day. Now, that's a tall statement because we all have big schedules. And I know we're all doing a lot, but 1 person a day. And it could be you're on the phone with mom and you're like, hey mom, do you want to play with our voices for a minute? I know it sounds really silly, but I want to sing more. And you want to sing with me? Sing a song with someone, teach someone, invoke that feeling of empowerment in someone else, and you realize that we all have an opportunity to create this space for each other. And all of a sudden, what would happen if in each of our relationships, if in each of our friendships and connections, we kind of like dissolve these like invisible walls of tension and closedness, because we all came here to this masterclass to open this up, right? Am I right? You know? So now, become the teacher and create space for yourself with other people to practice and to explore. So your home fun for this week is to jam and explore with your voice with others. Does that sound scary? Say yes if that sounds a little bit scary. It should probably be a little bit scary for most of you. But at the same time, it probably sounds a little bit fun too. I mean, we all want to jam and connect to each other. We all want to get, right? Yes and yes, exactly. Sounds a little scary and a little fun. It's actually a lot of fun. But this is your home fun. This is to bring what you've started here these last 9 weeks, to bring it into your world, to bring it into your connections, to be in connection just with one person. And if it's not every day, it's okay. But strive to meet someone in connection and jam with them every day, at least one person. Okay? So how'd you do on your last week's home fun? There's been so much that we've gone over in this wow, since we've begun. We've gone over so much. We've covered a lot. These next few weeks is where we start to bring it into integration into the rest of our lives. How can we bring this and start to connect this to other people? Find the other people that you can be in connection with around this. That's how this work is going to continue. If you're a chef and you need to, if you're a chef and your dream is to really hone in on your cooking, you just got to cook a lot. And you got to cook with people and try different people's cooking, right? So if you want to sing, if you want to become empowered in your vocals and your speaking and your clarity, then you got to jam. You got to practice. You got to connect. You got to explore. So this week is your opportunity to do just that. Thank you, Mar. I saw that time check. Beautiful. So there's a few comments coming. I'm going to click over to the chat screen and I'm going to see if there's any comments. And if there's any questions today about any of the work we've covered so far, please feel free to go ahead and type it into the chat box. So Carol Rose says, now if we were to do a dance jam, then I can do that easily. Yes, indeed. I think both is definitely the way. Awesome, Mar, to hear you've been doing mirror work. Yeah, every day for me, mirror work every day. Mayu said, I had extensive oral surgery done this week. Was quite scared going into it. Wow, that is powerful. So before I went under the anesthesia, I asked the assistants and nurses to put on some 90s R&B music, and we all sung and jammed together in the operating room. That's the last thing I remember before going under. Then I woke up to the doctor saying the surgery went so smooth. Wonderful. I really think connecting to soul music with the surgical team and helping us all enter flow state really helped the procedure. Still in recovery, happy to be here now. I'm so glad you're here too. Wow, thank you for sharing that, Mayu. I'm sending you the biggest beam of love and healing to just add to all of your love, wisdom, and power to have a speedy recovery. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I love that 90s R&B, I gotta say. Which, by the way, you have another piece of home fun this week. You're going to choose this week a song. We already know from IU, maybe it's going to be a 90s R&B song, but for those of you, I would love for you to choose by next week and have a song that inspires you, that you want to sing, something you want to learn. Maybe it's the song you already know, but I'd invite you to choose a song that challenges you to learn and to, we just spoke about mirroring, right? This practice of looking into mirror. So the other part of your home fun, in addition to jamming, is to find a song that you're going to learn. And by the end of our 12 weeks, part of your graduation is I want you to record this song on your phone and send it to me and the Band of Light team. And we're going to celebrate each other's. Maybe we can post it on a forum so we can check out each other rocking our song. And so this should probably scare you a little bit, but hopefully this sounds really fun too, because we don't want to scare you, but it should be a challenge. This should be something that you really need to step up to. So find a song that matches your voice, that you want to sing along to, that feels like, yeah, this is attainable, this is something I can sing, but it also challenges you to grow. I want you to mirror over the course of this week. Start mirroring whoever the singer is or the vocalist. See, really check out, how are they singing? How are they pronouncing each word? Right? Really get into the subtle details and the refinement of how they're pronouncing, how their tone, how their vibrato moves. Listen intently to how they're doing it. And the way that I learn a song, if I'm going to go through and really master a song, is I'll just take it line by line. So I'll listen to the whole song a few times through, as many times as till I really have the song. But I'll go through it line by line, right? So the other week I was relearning that song, "Remember the Time" by Michael Jackson. It's one of my favorites. Speaking of 90s R&B, do you remember when we fell in love? We were young and innocent then. So he did this thing where he's like, young and it was almost like young g. I heard a little g in there, the way that he pronounced it. And when I was listening to this over and over, I was getting into like each word, each subtle way where I could almost see his like neck bob and the way he would sing it. And I just got into, how can I sing it exactly like this? Now, this is an amazing practice. It's not because we're trying to be someone, but to mirror the way that someone else would sing. It gives us this, it opens up something for us. It gives us this is how I've created an extensive vocabulary of styles and genres and tones and things that I can do with my throat, is by mirroring, right? When I hear some of the Indian, beautiful Indian classical music, and just the way that they sing, and the places in their nose, and the way they move their voice around in their head is very different from most Western music. So by getting into that music, I learned to do different things with my voice by mirroring it, right? By listening to it over and over until I could get it just right. So this is your home fun for this week, okay? Is to choose a song that is an expression of you, that expresses the way you feel, perhaps about this course, about this time of your life, about stepping more into your vocal empowerment, about, it should be a song that empowers you and makes you feel both like it's a challenge, but it's something that's inspiring. And once you choose the song, I want you to start learning it. And your home fun for the next few weeks is going to be to master this song and to record a video of it that we're going to share with each other by the end of this course. And I'm going to learn one too. So I'm going to actually choose a brand new song this week with you. I have no idea what it's going to be, but by next week, I want us all to type in to the chat box, or perhaps in the forum. We could create a question for this, a little space for us to explore this in the forum. I want you to share what your song is, who the artist is, so we could all listen to it too. We can check out each other's songs. Like, oh, that's a good one. I can't wait to see what you choose. So each of you, I can't wait to hear what song you choose. And once you have it, go ahead and start exploring it. Go ahead and start listening and mirroring this song. And then we'll have a couple weeks to really get it down. And by the end of this masterclass, we're gonna be able to have a little show and tell. Okay? Wonderful. Is there any other questions for today? Anything else that's come up anything about your spiritual explorations, or any of your own personal work, anything that wants to be shared and spoken to? I just want to say, if any of you have anything to share, you can go ahead and type it. But I want to just speak to something that sometimes we're moving so quickly through these sessions. I don't always take a moment to just say thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. What we just did today, a little earlier in the session, where we actually created a field and toned into a sphere together and wrapped that around our friends in California. This is not to be underestimated. the power of our song, the power of our voices. And where two or more are gathered, we can truly create miracles. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for showing up for this work and refining your voice and stepping into your surrendered leadership, because the world needs more surrendered leaders. The world needs this balance of the rising feminine meeting the masculine within ourselves and being open, receptive channels of the divine, but in our leadership and our power. And that's what we're doing here. That's what this work is about. So I don't take nearly enough time to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for meeting me in this work and for doing this dance. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your songs are. And I want to ask if there's any other questions before we go today. I'm about to go perform. In fact, I have just enough time to run across the street, set up all my gear on stage, and I'm going to do a little concert here tonight for this incredible group. We've got a couple hundred people here at this private event I'm playing. So if there is no other questions, doesn't look like there is, I just want to say wholeness and balanced vibrations. And oh, Maria's got something. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Okay, how do you set yourself up for performing before show, to be in the flow? Great question, Mar. To enter flow state, to get into flow state, I literally start toning and humming when I'm doing my vocal warm-ups. Like for me, I'll just do a few right now. I do this, the loose lips one. When I start toning and just doing my vocal warm-ups, I literally imagine that my tones are a stream that's streaming out through me forever and ever and ever, and it's streaming backwards through time forever and ever and ever, and I'm just literally joining the flow of this stream. So I've gotten it down to a point where it only takes me one or two tones to kind of pop into flow state. But I notice that if I'm in my mind a lot, it's harder to get there. So breathing deeply, toning into the stream and streaming every single note that I sing, and seeing, part of it is seeing it, part of it's feeling it, and the other part is just, of course, embodying it, is really stepping into the stream, so that it's not me singing anymore, it's the stream streaming through me as I'm singing. So I'm seeing a couple other comments here. Are we sharing the song a cappella with the group? Yes, so what I would suggest, as Holland said, create a video of yourself. And this, you've got a few weeks to do this part. This first week, this next week, your home fun, remember, is to jam with someone once a day. If you want to film yourself jamming, great. I welcome you to share that. But your other part of your home fun is to choose your song, okay? Then over the next couple of weeks, you're going to have time to refine your song, to learn it, to master it, and then you're going to film yourself with your phone. Just set up your phone and film yourself on video singing that song. You can sing it along to the recording. That's fine too. A cappella is awesome. For the super brave souls, I fully recommend that. And then you'll share that video with the group. Yeah. Heather says, Elijah, thank you for being here. You're welcome, Heather. You're welcome so much. I really needed to come together in community to support, to ground and activate on this portal day. Me too. In my home right now, ashes swirling around. Our toning prayers for California was powerful. So much gratitude and love. Heather, I'm sending you all of my love, and I'm right here with you. As I sing this concert tonight, I'm going to be continuing to beam so many prayers to California and continuing to strengthen the work that we started today. Okay, so beloved friends, oh, I see there's something in the Q&A box. Ellie says, for a long time, surrender meant for me saying yes. then I realized there's a much deeper layer to surrender, and I started to say yes to a no. Can you comment on this? Yes, Ellie, this is a big question, and I'll keep it brief for today because I could speak for hours about about the power of yes. I've been saying yes for a long time. In fact, yes became a bit of my mantra, that I would just say yes to everything. Two things I want to say about that. When we get really clear on what our, let's just say, our unnegotiable yeses are the yeses that we're unwavering about, right? Like our mission, the clear things that we are committed to and devoted to in this life. If we commit ourselves and guard those yeses, then the no's kind of start to take care of themselves, because it's really clear what our yes is and what we have time for and what we don't. So in a way, I think of the wisdom of my mentor, Pearl. Pearl is one of the wisest and most psychic people I've ever met. And Pearl used to tell me all the time, she would remind me that she raised 4 children without ever saying no. And I thought, what an incredible feat, for one. But for two, how is that even possible? And Pearl would tell me about raising her children without ever saying yes, or sorry, without ever saying no. And when I asked her, how did she do that? You know what she said? She said, I never said no because I always I always re-emphasized where their yes was. So if they wanted something that was a no, I would just emphasize what the yes is rather than pointing out what the no is. And by raising them like that from babies to the time they were young adults and moved out, they entered the world with a feeling of, I can do anything. Right? There's a sense of the yes was strong, and they could literally follow that yes to find whatever it is that they wanted to do in life. And I thought, what a powerful, incredible gift to give someone, is to just meet them in the yes energy and to emphasize that and be so committed to that the no's take care of themselves. So I imagine it like the no becomes the banks of the river of yes. And if you become that river of yes and you're so clear on what your yes is, everything else just kind of slides on by. Sounds easy enough, doesn't it? Well, there's plenty of opportunities for us to have to really refine that and clearly communicate that. And that's why we are here doing this work of vocal empowerment. The only other comment I'll make on the yes and the no thing is that for some of us, the most empowering thing we could do is say no. And I want to really honor that and acknowledge that might be the doorway of finding your powers to learn how to say no. But for me, I find that when I'm really clear on what my yes is, the no's take care of themselves. Okay. So, beloved friends, I think we've come to that moment already. There's so much more to be shared, but I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Mahalo nui loa. And I'm sending you all of my love, my compassion, and blessings to this next week ahead. Enjoy your jams. Enjoy your newfound vocal expression and your leadership in surrender, and finding all the sweet little pockets of your day that you get to express and integrate this work into your life. I also want to say, enjoy finding your song. Let this song be an expression of you. Let this song be like your song for this moment, right? Make this something that you are passionate about, that inspires you to sing and to work on, because you're going to be listening to this song every day for the next few weeks. So really choose wisely. And then please share your experience with us on the forum. I love you guys so much. And I'm sending you so much love from Florida. Until next week, I will be in Costa Rica next week, and wow, it's going to be a big week ahead for your brother E. So stay connection, and we'll talk to you soon. Much love.